Good evening and welcome tonight. It's tragedy again in the northeast as 32 people die in a crossfire between military and Boko Haram in Maiduguri and a blast in Potiskum. INEC extends collection of permanent voter cards for 1 week, asks Nigerians to take advantage of the extension. Nigerians in the United Kingdom say they want to exercise their voting rights in the 2015 elections. And Jordan promises to rescue its pilots held hostage by ISIS. Violence was unleashed on the Borno state capital, Maiduguri, for several hours today when the Nigerian military exchanged gunfire with Boko Haram. The insurgents had attacked the 6th Battalion of the Nigerian Army, but the soldiers fought back, forcing the militants to flee. A military source told Channels Television that soldiers are chasing the militant group through the Damboa Road from where they came in earlier this morning. The attack on 6th Battalion is a second attempt by Boko Haram to take control of the army barracks. However, we do have reports that the militants have regrouped and have attacked Maiduguri barracks, the second largest after the 6th Battalion. The Nigerian military is also engaged in fighting the militants there and are said to have chased them out. Well, thousands of residents of Borno State are said to have fled the city to neighboring states. Boko Haram has been operating in northeastern Nigeria since the year 2000. Meanwhile, over in Yobe State, 12 people have been killed after a bomb exploded in Potiskum. Witnesses say the bomb went off right in the front of the home of an undisclosed prominent politician and that many people who were injured had been taken to hospital. This year alone, about 50 people have been killed in Potiskum. We do remember that on the 10th of this month, a suicide bomber killed 45 students at the government college, and another attack on the 18th at Global Systems Communications Market close to a primary school claimed 5 lives. Turn now to electoral matters. The Independent National Electoral Commission today extended the deadline for collection of permanent voter cards to Sunday, February the 8th. This supersedes the earlier deadline of Saturday, January 31st, and is intended to give registered voters yet to collect their PVCs the opportunity to do so in readiness for the February 2015 general elections. INEC therefore advises duly registered persons not to delay in going to collect their cards before the expiration of the new deadline. Its commission says that it is determined to make the 2015 elections free, fair and credible, as well as peaceful, and urges all interested parties, including voters, to spare no efforts at working towards the same objective. Now, one-time governor of Old Kaduna State, Mr. Balarabe Musa, says he doubts if INEC will be able to complete the distribution of PVCs before the February elections. The former governor was reacting to claims by INEC that over 20 million cards are yet to be collected. He then cautioned against rushing the exercise. He says it will be right for INEC to hold elections after all the registered voters have collected their PVCs. The former governor was speaking on the sidelines of an event organized by the Nigeria Labour Congress in Kaduna State.
INEC is not prepared to serve even half the electorate, which is about 68 million Nigerians. By this time, we understand they have made this only about 30 million common voters cards available. I think all Nigerians should know that INEC cannot distribute almost 40 million permanent voters cards by the 14th of February, the date of the election, because INEC is certainly not prepared for it. And secondly, we understand they are rushing to distribute few permanent voters cards through very unusual method. I understand they are organizing community leaders to distribute the permanent voters card. They are even using village heads to distribute permanent voters card, and they shouldn't.
Former Governor of Kaduna State, Mr. Balarabe Musa. Now, our former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, says now is the time for Nigerian leaders to consider whether or not they will be deploying Youth Corps members to monitor elections in the northeastern part of the country. Professor Akinyemi tasked the leaders to decide whether it was safe to send young Nigerians in service of their nation as ad hoc staff to conduct elections there. The former minister says he's concerned about the security situation and how it could affect the polls. He was speaking on our political program, Politics Today.
There are issues actually which cannot be resolved by the judiciary, which the wisdom of elders should have led Jonathan and Buhari to meet eyeball to eyeball and have an understanding. All these people who are, who sit in Lagos and Abuja, busy issuing press conferences and screaming at the top of their voices. How many of them have been to Maiduguri? How many of them know the security in that area?
Do you think that going ahead with this election will help? Would you advise for a postponement of the polls based on some of the issues that you have raised?
No. My advice has been limited, very limited. Let President Jonathan, General Buhari, and their leaders meet, call the INEC chairman, Professor Jega, call the security service chiefs and ask them point blank, can you guarantee security in the northeastern states? Jega, can you guarantee that you will distribute 95% of the PVCs? If, depending on the answers they give, let our leaders meet in conclave, as the Catholics will say, and then come out and say, this is what we have agreed among ourselves. Give us that assurance. Do you know Boko Haram's program between now and February 14th? To me, it's like booby traps are being set, not only for INEC, but for Nigeria itself. Because I can see issues being taken to the court after the elections. Elections couldn't be held in this state, and that state happens to be the state where my supporters are. Therefore, the legitimacy of the results are in question. Therefore, these results are not acceptable to me. And I would have expected that, in addition to the Abuja Peace Accord, that they will also midwife a meeting of the major political parties to say these are the issues on the ground.
Former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Now, here's a message from Nigerians in London to the federal government. If our money is good enough for the country, so is our vote. The statement captures the feeling of many Nigerians living abroad who are largely exempted from exercising their franchise, so into geographical constraints. Well, our correspondent, President Goodluck Jonathan has toed the line of promises made by previous administrations to push for diaspora voting, but this is yet to materialize, even with the general elections just around the corner. Our correspondent in London, Doris Okenwa, has more on this.
Miles away from home, but connected through family, friends, loved ones, investments, and many other attachments too numerous to list. Nigerians hardly lose their sense of home, not in London, not anywhere else in the world, which is why being excluded from general elections is a sore point for many living abroad.
I think diasporans should vote because they are engaged, just as engaged on the politics that's going on in Nigeria as, people in Nigeria, if not more so, because we actually have the opportunity to discuss without any fear and then make a decision, and then we can, let out what we feel, we can participate because economically we participate in the country. So we should be giving some way of, participating in the politics.
We still have families back there. We still go there a couple of times. We still have investments back there.
A closer look at this economic argument shows that remittances, that's money sent home by people working outside their home country, plays a vital role for the upkeep of their families and even the national economy. The World Bank's Department of Migration and Development brief in 2013 reveals that remittances to Africa is on the steady rise, and with international aid to the continent in decline, remittances are set to emerge as an important source of external finance.
It's actually more an issue of value and ethics, even before you start considering that Nigerians in diaspora cannot vote, which is kind of, it's a shame.
A key point that has also been raised on this issue is the need for a comprehensive national database. That way, keeping a track of who is in and out of the country could be a step towards securing the votes of those outside the country. Doris Okenwa, Channels Television News, London.
Now, electoral issues are very sentimental and must not be treated with levity, so says international lawyer Nelson Obanya, who does not support the demand by Nigerians in diaspora voting outside of the country during elections. He advocates that those who vote during elections must have first-hand experience of the issues to make informed decisions at the polls.
With the environment, because that will perpetuate diasporanism, and that is one of my arguments against this idea of just saying because you are abroad you must participate in things. If you do that, the implication is that people will remain perpetually in foreign lands.
Yes.
So there is no incentive to come home. So are you really encouraging them to remain there or making them to come home? If only they desire to participate in political system, they should come back home, see their brothers and sisters, participate in some village and rural activities, know their roots. Then just few months after the whole thing, they will go back where they are, at least for exercise, all right. Now if they are doing voter registration card, you come back home, you register. During the election, you come back, you register. So there's a lot of period you can take off duty. So that's the way I see it. I don't think it's about staying around your computer in any part of the world and start casting your vote. So that is not responsibility of citizenship.
In part two, after the break, another pipeline fire in Ikorodu area of Lagos. Please stay with us.